Community, the committee, we hear you. We hear you. So we have the same question. So allow the panel to explain how they came to this decision, okay? Hold it, let them say it. We need to hear this. Don't leave. Don't leave. Don't leave. Go ahead.
You know why you shouldn't leave? You know why you shouldn't leave? Because this is what people count on. Every time we walk out of a room, every time we already move.
That's why I said what I said. I smelled it in the room.
It's not going to be nice.
So, first of all, I just want to say good evening to everyone.
It's afternoon. So what did you base your decision on?
Wait.
I'll say it's
Wait, we need an explanation.
Yeah, that's what you do. I want to hear this one.
What's your name, sir? What's your name?
I'm an activist. I know shit when I smell it. I know it when I smell it. That's why I say what I say. I smell that shit.
Yes, don't just, Nils, I got him. Let him speak, please.
So first, what I want to say is, like, if there was any hint of condescension, that was not intended in any shape or form.
I believe you. That's not condescending at all.
Wait, let him finish. Go ahead.
There's nothing. I think what I wanted to say first of all is that this has been a very instructive process. Okay? And what I want to say is that we heard all the what everyone said. Now, in fact, let me start here.
What everyone said, you mean opinions? Me?
Wait, let her finish, sir. Hold on, before you speak. Sir, I just want you to know that we feel you, okay? We, part of the committee, are very concerned with the outcome. So because the panel is here, we need to allow them to explain themselves. So before we leave the room, we must hear what they are saying. Allow that, please. Go ahead.
Could we have him introduce himself? We don't know his name.
Yeah, I was going to do that.
Go ahead, buddy.
So my name is Buzaji Maiwala, right? And I'm up at the Africa Center. I'm the CEO of the Africa Center, which is up at 110 and Fifth Avenue. So thank you for the opportunity to speak. I think there has been a lot of discussion today about all the different sort of aspects of the projects. Clearly, like, many things went into deciding, or like into the vote of the folks up here who are on the panel. It's an honor to have served on this panel. I know that sometimes when people see the results of these things, like, it causes more discussion, and that's a really good thing. It's the process. What I think for us, and I don't want to speak for all the panelists, I think we were called up here to offer an opinion, right? It's an opinion, right? It's what we were asked to provide.
Because I'm disgusted.
For everyone.
They're
So
kicking me out of here.
Sorry?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, so it's, again, I just want everyone to know that we were called up here for today, as everyone in this room, to express a particular opinion. And that's what we are here to do. So I think for those of us who are speaking to, or for those of us who are voting today, the idea was to take into account what we know from our different fields and from our expertise, and use that to make a decision based on what was presented. Now, each of the projects clearly had its merits, and there were some projects that seemed to speak to people on the committee a little bit more. There's some aspects of the project that seem to speak to the folks in the community a little bit more.
It wasn't up to them, it's up to the community.
Wait.
So,
Let him finish.
as I understood it, we were asked to come in here and provide,
Look at my face.
Go ahead.
we were asked to come in and provide, on this panel, right, our opinion of things and our understanding based on our professional knowledge, as the community was asked to provide their own knowledge based off of, living in the area, et cetera, right? So that's what we were called up here to do. Sorry. And professional knowledge. Forgive me. So can I take a step back then? Let me take a step back and say this. You guys can probably hear that I'm very nervous, right? I understand there's a lot of energy.
Walk out the room.
What?
No,
Sorry.
wait.
So I just want to let. So let me just finish. I think what folks thought about, right, was a number of things in terms of just the aesthetic experience, right? taking into account, we deliberated everything that we heard from everyone else. People thought about, maybe I should just, I don't know.
So you had something to say. Did you want to say something from the panel?
You know what I sense? I sense straight bias is what I sense. And I don't think this was done through the efforts of fairness or democracy at all. This is bias. The other contestants didn't even show up. So explain that. Explain your decision. Explain your decision.
So
They're not even
listen
here.
to this.
They're not even here.
Listen to this.
Explain it.
Listen to this. To me, this is the most important thing, right? He said that they were asked to form an opinion, right? Because we gotta listen. That's why I want y'all to listen. What we thought was happening was that once we entered into this room, into this space, that we would have an opportunity to look at these 4 artists and that a decision would be made based on the consensus in the room. That's what the community thought. So what's happening is, you gotta be clear about the process. So the process is the panel, the representatives are the voters. And so we as the committee had 1 vote. We had 1 vote. And that person said that they were willing to vote based on how the committee wanted them to vote. So now that they've made a decision, it's important for us to be able to hear from those in terms of how they came up to their decision on how they voted.
The problem is the process. The problem is the community has no power. The problem is there is no accountability. That is what the issue is. It's not about y'all, it's about the process.
I just want to ask a question on behalf of Community Board 11 and my whole community here. First of all, I'd like to find out if the votes are going to be made public as to why and the reasoning why, right? Second of all, if the public's opinion was not going to be taken into account, then why have we been here? Excuse me. Why have we been here since 10 o'clock and it's 5 o'clock now, 7 hours later? I'd also like to find out who lives in this community that has lived with this statue, that is finally an artist who shows what this community,
A native New Yorker, a native New Yorker.
a community that has been, that's a painful one, because if you don't pass by Marion Sims' statue and not think about your kids and what could have happened if you lived in another time, then you're not black or brown. So the fact of the matter is that the J. Marion Beyond Sims Committee worked really hard. They worked their tail off. We have a lot of activists here that are still sitting, and we are being fed a decision that was argued, right? You asked the questions. You said, what do you think about this artist? What do you think about this artist? What do you think? And the community responded. Okay? When you said do comparisons, the community responded. The community gave you the reasons why. It's not what you feel, why you think you're an artist, what value it gives to you. Because you don't live here. If you don't live here and you don't work here, right, then you should respect. If it's an opinion, which is all your opinion, where is your opinion outvalue the community that has been doing forums? This is not the first
I
forum.
want to know who's going to call Simone. Which one of these friends with her is going to call them what she wants? That's what I want to know. Straight bias.
Excuse me.
Nonsense.
Excuse me. If we didn't have a voice,
This is wrong.
and the voice, our voice wasn't supposed to be counted, because ultimately you all knew what you were going to do.
You had your minds made up this morning.
Excuse me.
This is a farce.
No, don't worry.
You're
Don't
charade.
do that. Don't do that. You are not going to do that. You are not going to let this someone, that's right. You are not going to let this board demoralize you. This is a
It's
culmination.
travesty.
This is a culmination of work that 2 different committees worked on, that different council people.
Can everybody take a minute? I want you to stand up. Stand up. Come on, stand up, everybody.
I don't know what's so funny?
Stand
I
up.
don't see comedy in this.
Stand
I don't
up.
see comedy in this.
Okay? Be patient, be loving, be caring. Feel the heart center. We're close to 10 years working on this.
I saw it.
Wow.
Okay? 10
I saw it
years.
coming.
And we need to
I
be
saw it
centered.
coming.
Okay? We cannot react. We will hear. We will hear the reasoning behind this. Look, in my book, whatever decision they make,
It's nonsense.
is their opinion.
Right, not
Okay?
based on fact.
And
Decision means
we
nothing.
wait.
That's right.
Paciencia, niño. Por favor. Indigo, come here with me. Indigo, come here with me now. So angry. Yes, come here.
So angry right now.
Right there. Right there.
How angry I am.
Right there. Indigo. The drum.
Contestants were not even here. So what did you do? This is based on decision on.
It's
Fine.
been more than
Everything.
10 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so you gotta
Yeah.
Indigo. The drum. The drum. Let's bring this to the drum. Let's bring it to our ancestors. Let's breathe into every sister that has been violated by the medical establishment. Breathe into it. The drum. Okay, the drum. Folks, get closer because we are going to deal with this.
Corruption at the highest level. Even art.
Okay?
Bite!
The ancestors that brought you here on this day.
I don't understand. I'll be back.